Welcome into episode number 112 of The Voice Behind the Voice. I'm Sean Aronson, the TV and radio broadcaster for the St. Paul Saints, an independent minor league baseball team in the Twin Cities. Well, we are less than 2 weeks from getting started on the season. We open on the road a week from this Friday on the 18th of May. Our home opener is 2 weeks from the day that I am recording this. And it's about that time. As a matter of fact, while I'm recording this open, team is on the field doing an inter-squad game, just getting the pitchers some work. We only have 3 exhibition games this year. Usually we have about 5 or 6, so not a lot of time for these guys to get some live action in, but that's what they're doing right now. Big day on the front office side of things, if you will, and maybe not even the front office side, but the guy that is behind the camera right now shooting this, and a guy that has been instrumental in this podcast, Jordan Lynn, he is debuting the 25-year documentary of the St. Paul Saints, something that he wrote, produced, edited, directed, shot, I don't know, whatever else you do within a time frame of shooting a movie or a documentary or whatever. He pretty much did it all, and it is debuting to the public tonight at a movie theater. It's part of the Twin Cities Film Fest, their Insider Series, where they get local artists, if you will, local people that make movies or documentaries or whatever, and their films are featured in these Insider Series. And so 135-person movie theater, and it will debut here tonight. And you've got media people, you've got Saints people, you've got some fans, you've got a bunch of different people across the board that are going to be out, red carpet and everything. I mean, it's like an actual Hollywood movie premiere, and I'm sure people will be screaming about who we're wearing or the dates that we brought, something like that. So I have 7 hours to find a date, so it doesn't do me good to put it out there in the ethos now, because by the time you listen to this, it will be over. So I will scramble like mad to try and find a date in the next 7 hours. One other thing, I just want to say thank you to everybody out there. I put it out on Twitter last week, but the month of April, the most listened to month of this podcast, we are 2 years into the podcast and continue to grow. And it always amazes me when I see those numbers. And, I set a record from one month to the next, but the most listened to month, I never know, how new people are hearing about it, why they're hearing about it, but it's always good to see that number grow, knowing that 2 years into this, that this still has a following and still has a following that is growing. So to everybody out there, if you've listened, if you've recommended it to someone, if you shared it with someone, I thank you very much, because it really does. It makes it that much more worthwhile. Obviously, we're getting into the time of the year now for me where things start to get a little bit crazy. I've got about 9 episodes in the can, which you think, oh, that's a lot, and it is, but that goes quickly over the next couple of months, and so it becomes during baseball season trying to find the baseball broadcasters, either when the Twins are here at home or when we go on the road and I'm in a major league city, to try and grab guys, because nine episodes over the next 9 weeks isn't enough to get us through the entire season. So the first 2 years of this podcast, I was fortunate enough to be able to do that. Hopefully here in this, as we enter in year number 3, we're able to do it again where we don't have any repeat episodes or, go dormant for a week, which I don't think I would do anyways. But again, thank you very much to everybody out there that has listened. With that said, let's get to episode number 112. It is Ken Kal of the Detroit Red Wings. A few weeks ago, you heard Ken Daniels. Well, this is Ken Kal. I did him basically on the same day. I did Ken Daniels at 1 o'clock in the morning, if you remember that episode from a few weeks ago. 9 hours later, I went back to the hotel and did Ken Kal. Great episode. And I sort of get, really fixed on what he originally majored in college, which was mortuary science. He was thinking about going into the morgue business, if you will, dealing with dead people. And I was really fascinated by that because it was extremely unusual. So we talk about that, talk about, if you listen to the Ken Daniels episode where Ken Kal had kind of lost his voice during the Stanley Cup Finals and Ken Daniels filled in for him, handed the microphone over to Ken Kal to broadcast the final 15 seconds of the game. Well, Ken Kal did that with a former Detroit Red Wings broadcaster, and we talk a little bit about that as well. If you've not subscribed to the podcast, you can do so on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. Again, be sure to rate us. I went and checked the other day. A lot more people have rated this podcast than previously when I checked, and a lot more people had given their feedback on there as well, so I appreciate that. Also, follow us on social media, Twitter @TheVoiceBTV, Facebook, facebook.com/TheVoiceBTV, and you can always email me, thevoicebtv@gmail.com. All right, let's get to it. Episode number 112. It is Ken Kal of the Detroit Red Wings. JW, see you tonight at the premiere. Roll the open.
At that particular time, going into college, I was thinking, like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't know what I'm going to do, and I remember talking to him one day. I think I was at a funeral of a relative, and it was at his funeral home. And I was talking to him because he knew me because I played ball with his son. And he says, hey, if you go to mortuary science school, I'll give you a job when you get out. And I think at that time you had to do an apprenticeship or something for a year or something like that. And I said, well, yeah, that sounds pretty good.